The chat room is on fire. It always is when Khamzat's in the news. I love it. King Terzi says Chimaev is already fighting International Fight Week. He is? Who's he fighting? Dricus coach said it's confirmed. So are you saying he's fighting for the title International Fight Week? That would be great. I didn't hear that yet. I hope that's the case. Amavov is fighting Kyle Barajo. Okay. So now Amavov beats Adesanya, wins 2 fights above his pay grade, and now he's fighting down. See, things don't make any sense sometimes. You would think that Amavov would fight the loser of Strickland and Du Plessis, which puts him right in title contention. I don't think a win against Barajo does. Marty Party says Dana White wanted Khamzat in the USA. That's why they did Strickland versus DDP to get it out of the way. Okay. Strickland and Dricus both said they want Chimaev next no matter what. See, I didn't hear Strickland say that, so I like that. Khamzat Boers Chimaev superfan. Khamzat is next. Don't worry, bro. Amavov is just ranked 2 because he beat Izzy. It's not saying he's next. Right, but the discussion is starting. See, the waters are being muddied right now, which is what I knew would happen. And I just hope that Dana White sticks to what he said he would do. And yes, King Terzi, we are live. We are live. Khamzat Chimaev, Boers fan. Surprising that Nickel ranked number 15 now. He's fighting number 11 Costa in Miami. Really? Is this confirmed? Okay, I like that matchup. That's a true test for Bo Nickel. I mean, because Costa still got something to prove. He was undefeated, so he lost, against some good fighters. And I'm not seeing that anywhere, but that would be good. So Bo Nickel's in the top 15. That's big for him. And the UFC would like Bo Nickel to keep winning because that's the future super fight. If Bo Nickel keeps going in the direction he's going, he struggled a little bit in his last fight, but if he keeps going in the direction he's going, theoretically, he's going to be really good. A guy that can take the fight to the ground if necessary as well. Could that be the super fight against Khamzat? I don't see that right now from Bo Nickel, but that's not to say he doesn't come out in the next fight and obliterate somebody and is back right on the path that he was on before he before he won the last fight, which wasn't a finish, wasn't a spectacular fight, but you would expect that from a guy that's on his way up. You would expect the guy to have a setback. No questions asked. King Terzi, is that confirmed? He's fighting Costa. I only saw rumors so far, and that's what I'm seeing too. I'm seeing rumors. Don't have a definitive answer, but I'll take their word for it. And usually if the rumors are circulating like that in a fight that makes sense, neither guy's in title contention right now, I could see that happening. And Paul Lacoste is a guy that's not turning down anybody. I mean, what was he like, 12, 13-0 at one point and has lost 3 or 4 in a row? Fighting Adesanya, Strickland, all these type of guys. Low Volt Dude says, how do you feel about Rosenstrike getting cut? So let's move on to that story while you're on that topic. So 2 fighters got cut, Rosenstrike and Jamal Pogues. Jamal Pogues, okay, I understand. Jairzinho Rosenstrike, I don't get it. So obviously his contract must have ran out. This guy it's a tough call because I don't think they should have cut him. Because basically he's on his way up and then starts fighting at the top and he's losing to everybody up there. He's just losing to everybody. And the UFC is looking at this like, all right, we can keep you around, but you're just going to be holding a spot. But the heavyweight division isn't loaded. So I don't understand why you wouldn't want a guy like Rosenstrike being a gatekeeper, sitting there taking on guys coming in, trying, Rosenstrike will be in the top 10 right around there, and he's going to take on guys that are trying to crack the top 10. And it's like, okay, if you want to get Rue into the top 10, you got to beat Rosenstrike and use him for 3 to 5 fights like that. I don't see why the UFC wouldn't want to do that. I guess we'll have to wait and see what Dana White says about this. I'm sure he'll speak on it. But Rosenstrike was a guy that was productive in the UFC. Now, he didn't look good in the last fight by any means, but the fight did go to a decision. He battled, and he's still not a top tier guy, but a high mid level. And he could continue to be a gatekeeper. Now he's not running towards a title. I think we could see that over the last 2 to 3 fights, but at any time he could have won this last fight against Pavlovich or the fight before. And it's like, okay, now he's reverse course. He's in the prime. He could make a run maybe. Ngannou obliterated him back in the day. Ngannou's gone. So you never, like, John Jones won't be there forever. So maybe he can sneak up there, but he keeps losing. I just don't think the UFC should have got rid of him. I don't think the time was now. But listen, it's a business and they're going to do what they got to do. Marty Party. Sean Strickland keeps saying Chimaev is next because he brings the most dollars. Yeah, and I agree. But I'll tell you what, if I'm Sean Strickland, I don't want any part of Khamzat. Because how do these guys not know that Khamzat is going to come in there and just wreck shop, man? When Khamzat Chimaev is healthy, nobody is beating him. Okay? Let's get past the Gilbert Burns and Usman. Burns, he shouldn't be fighting at welterweight. That was clear in that fight. But he still did what he had to do to win it in the third round in a very close split decision. I believe it was split anyway. And then it might have been 29-28 all three, but it was very close third round, like 64-62 in significant strikes. And he got knocked down. Then against Usman, he dominates the first round, controls Usman on the ground, which is crazy to even consider that at that point in time. Usman has one of the best takedown defense in all the UFC. Just tore him apart on the ground. And then something looked different. But we're looking back to the Gilbert Burns fight, right? Oh, Khamzat has no gas tank. Here comes the second and third round. And then it turns out that he hurt his hand, right? So there's reasons there. Sean Strickland, he just demolishes Sean Strickland. Amavov demolishes him. I think the best chance for anyone to put up a fight is going to be Dricus, because Dricus is still, Dricus is thick, right? And Dricus has some ground ability. I don't think it matters. Let me be real. I don't think it matters. But if anyone's going to have a chance, it's going to be Dricus. It's going to be the Bo Nickel types in a few years. Guys that have some ground ability and are thick, right? And could keep the fight standing at times where, people might perceive that they have an advantage against Khamzat, which right now, that's the best opportunity you got, is to defend takedowns and keep it standing. Easier said than done, nearly impossible, but that's what you got to do. And Dricus has the best chance to do that. Terzi says, still beat Usman, who's the toughest matchup. Still beat a hungry, nothing to lose, prime, surging Gilbert Burns, right? A guy who's looking to get back to the title. Fighting him early in the career, losing a bunch of weight, barely making weight, right? Then again, you had the whole Nate Diaz fiasco where Khamzat really, why do you want to fight Nate Diaz? What does that do for you? And came in like 7 pounds overweight. In fact, I think the day before, really early, said stop cutting weight. And then they just switched it to Kevin Holland. People were fired up and mad at Khamzat for that, but he's not a welterweight, And there's no motivation to fight Nate Diaz. He feels like he'll go in there and dismantle him. So, he's not one of the top guys anymore. Terzi says that Burns fight was one of the best fights of all time. Yeah, when you consider the numbers of that fight, and so Khamzat couldn't get the takedowns like he normally would get. That ought to show you that his strength isn't there. So now you're forced in a stand-up striking battle with Gilbert Burns. And then Gilbert Burns is thick, right? So Khamzat's got a little bit tougher a time, getting around him, getting a takedown. Then the fight goes on and you're sweating, so now guys are slippery. And this leads into Gilbert Burns' hands, and it's a stand-up striking fight. And you look at the numbers, which are great, and then you hit the third round, and it just skyrockets to 64-62 or something like that. I could see how you could make that statement for sure. Marty Party. So is Islam fighting Topuria now? Dana been hinting something special. I think that's the fight I guess that's the fight to make. They have both just decimated their divisions, but I really wanted to see Islam probably won't go up and fight at welterweight because that's his teammate now. They're both training with Khabib. But ultimately, what does Islam have to defend his lightweight belt against a featherweight? Why is he not going up Why is he the one that has to take the L on this one? Islam is too good to take the L. Islam should be going up to fight at welterweight and would probably easily win that fight. And it's a shame. Khamzat Chimaev superfan. I have to root for Shavkat to win versus Bilal. So we get Shavkat Islam. Now that's what I'm talking about. If Shavkat beats Bilal, which I don't know how I'm going to have to look at that one closely because Bilal's a whole different fighter now. Like Bilal fighting Leon, I'm like, yeah, Leon's going to win this fight. And Bilal got that head on the hip, and it's like you're watching a slightly lower version of Khabib, and you're like, oh my gosh, so another 6 months or a year, this guy's going to be even better at this. And he knows how to go in and just control the fight. And when these guys get their head on the hip and they take you down, they just have their way with you and run out the clock and land some ground and pound, and they got you in defending submissions, and you can't do anything with it. I mean, Bilal looks like a whole different fighter. So Shavkat versus Bilal to me is going to be an interesting fight. But if Shavkat does indeed win, then Islam definitely moves up. Because now it's not like you're fighting Bilal, a guy that you train with a little bit that works with Khabib too. And it's almost like the Aljamain Sterling, Merab Dvalishvili situation. Not quite as bad, but they'll dodge each other until they can't anymore. Bilal is what Colby used to be in his prime. And now we have Shavkat humanized. That's a good point. Bilal is like Colby, yeah. And now we have Shavkat humanized. Going to be tough for both guys. Yeah. Yeah. And imagine Shavkat gets the title before Khamzat. I mean, Khamzat's been around a lot longer than a lot of these new guys that are like a Shavkat that's going up to get the title. He's been in the UFC longer, and he's had some setbacks. With the Leon Edwards, he was forced out, and Robert Whittaker, he was forced out, and he had to wait another 6 to 8 months for that. And, so he's had setbacks, but at the same time, it's like, man, just feed us, please. We need to see Khamzat in a title fight. 49ers faithful forever in the house. I see you. Marty Party. Islam versus Usman would be interesting at 170. Yes, it would. And man, where is Usman? We haven't seen Usman in forever. I mean, in forever. And you don't imagine that he's just going to come back and be what he was now. He's just getting older every day. That's why I would think sometimes these guys go away like an Adesanya. Adesanya made the right move. Usman's making the right move. Let me go away and disappear for a little bit. Let me train hardcore for a year and a half, and get back to where I was. But the problem is you can't reverse age. So I say you fight now, because every day you're just getting older and you're not what you used to be. So I think Islam would. It's hard to say. I mean, Islam at 170 is going to be interesting, but yeah, I got to believe he would beat Usman in that fight. King Terzi, Khamzat gets the title in June. Shavkat would get the title in May. Yeah, because they're already freed up. Yep. So Shavkat's going to get it first, which to me is just, I'll be happy for Shavkat, but it's like, dang, man, I want to see Khamzat win the belt. I'm ready for Khamzat to take over. Shavkat, Islam will be around for a while. I'm ready to see all these dudes take over. And, it just seems like we got to keep waiting. But if it happens in 2025, I'll take it for sure.